Decorating Center. Well, good morning to you. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. We'll have open phones for the hour. 989-752-6111 is the number to call. And let us know what's on your mind this morning. And we'll go to those phones now, and we'll start out with Tim from Midland. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Art. I'm turning into one of your usual suspects here calling in to your show. I don't know if that's good or bad.
That's all right.
2 points here I want to make. We were talking about the Iran thing, and I called in a couple days ago talking about this.
Yeah.
I like Trump's restraint on this so far. I think it's excellent. But the 2 points I want to make are, first, when I hear the term regime change, my skin crawls. Because we have failed at this countless times in the past 20 years.
Yep.
Iraq, failure. Afghanistan, failure. Syria, failure. Libya, failure. Ukraine, current failure. We can't do it. It doesn't work. We don't seem to learn from our old playbook either. These things don't work. And taking out the leader there, the Ayatollah, I don't know. I mean, you said it earlier. Now what? Now what do we do?
That's the thing is you could go from bad to worse. You don't know.
Exactly. So Netanyahu, I mean, you can see clips of this guy back in 2002 saying, just take out Saddam. Everything will be fine. All you got to do is take out Saddam. So, which brings me to my second point is I think a large part of the Congress is financially influenced by an Israeli lobby. I think they've got a lot of money that is being funneled into special interest groups and is going to influence a lot of the members of Congress.
I would question that only because it's historic. It's not recent. It's we have been the biggest ally of Israel since the beginning.
But I think the money is you go back to the money. It's why. I mean, I got it. Israel. I am all Israel should exist as a country. I don't want to see them taken off the map. I am all about Israel and funding Israel. But I think, and even going back to the Iraq, when you watch Netanyahu go, just take out Saddam, just do that, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing.
He's said this countless times, too, on other issues.
But here's the thing. It's not out for us to take out Netanyahu either. It's up to the Israeli people to decide who they want as their leader. Now,
I'm not advocating for that.
Now,
I'm not advocating
I understand that. But how we choose to follow any leader is up to us in terms of following that person or not following that person, or supplying arms or not supplying arms, or supplying technology or not supplying technology. That's up to us.
Yep, and I think Trump is an anomaly. He's an anomaly from the past politicians. I use that
Well,
word
that's true. That's true.
He does what he thinks is best for this country, and right now he's saying, hey, we're going to put a pause on this. I don't think this is the best thing to do, which I don't think previous presidents would do that. They were influenced so strongly by Israel. If Netanyahu said jump, it was like, how high? And I don't understand that. And I think Netanyahu is seeing something different with Trump. That's what we're seeing.
Well, I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that. Although in many ways, they're similar in some ways. I think Netanyahu still looks at the United States as his biggest ally, and he knows how to butter his bread.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are, and I will say we are. And the industrial complex loves, Israel and this whole thing going on over there right now. They want nothing more than to get into another, war. And I think the American people, I've seen the polls on this. It's like 80% of people don't want to get involved. They don't want to get involved.
Yeah, it depends which poll you look at. I've seen conflicting polls on it, and that's the problem. I mean, it's it's what it is. It's an issue that's emotionally charged, and anytime you get an issue that's emotionally charged, you can take the polls and throw them away because one poll's going to say one thing, another poll's going to say another. It depends who they ask.
You're right. I've seen polls of veterans of my era.
Yep.
It's over 90% don't want to get involved.
Yeah, well, I don't know anybody that says, let's go bomb them, I don't think we want to be involved for a lot of reasons. But I said earlier, if big if you're going to get involved, And let's say you drop 2 bunker buster bombs because you need to drop 2. One creates the hole, the other goes in the hole. What's the end game? What's your plan to succeed after that? And I haven't heard that yet.
No, we never have one. It'll just be regime change. Everything will be great. We'll be great as liberators in the streets, and there'll be parades. And everything will be great.
Yeah. Well, I don't see that happening.
Oh, really? That's never happened? That hasn't happened?
No, I said I don't see that happening now.
Well, another interesting point, though. Iran is 60% Persian and 40% Muslim. So it's an interesting dynamic in that country.
Yep.
So it's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a point in time when the Iranian people rise up themselves. There could be that point in time. Who knows? All right.
Yep.
Good stuff,
Great.
Tim. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye
Super,
now.
thanks. Yep.
And let's say hi to Scott in Saginaw. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Art. How are you this morning?
Doing well, thank you. Oh, Scott in Bay City. I'm sorry.
No, I'm doing fine. I have 2 things. The first thing is Jean. You know, she says she's not for killing people, but yet when the insurance man was shot, assassinated, however you want to say it, she was all for that. If you remember that phone call when she called, and you stopped her and you told her, hey, that was a total assassination.
Yep.
And these leftists are so unhinged that all they see is Trump is bad, and whatever he does, they do the opposite.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's anti-Trump. That's exactly what it is right now.
Exactly. You know, I am a Republican, or I should say conservative. But right now I'm all for Trump with what he's doing and how he's putting this country back together. But when Biden was in office, I did not go protest. It is what it is when you're outvoted.
Yeah, that's it.
But these people just don't get it.
No, and you know the thing about it, there's a story. Let's see if I can find it. I pulled it out. I think the Democratic Party, the Democrats themselves, are beginning to realize the errors of their ways in this last election. Because there was here's the article. This was in USA Today, I think. The headline is Democrats want new leaders focus on pocketbook issues. That's from a Reuters and Ipsos poll. And I think they're right, because they look back at the last election. They didn't talk about the issues we wanted to hear about. All they did was accuse Trump of being a Nazi or all those terms they used, and it cost them the election. And now all of a sudden there's a few Democrats going, wait a minute, we got to change our thinking here.
Right, but again, that is not the Democrat Party. You see all these senators and congressmen out there still just going against Trump, making stuff up.
Yeah, but
where you actually have some Republican people, the Democrat people, not legislators or anybody. Those are the people who are against what the Democrat Party did.
Yeah, but those are the people that vote, and those are the people the party has to worry about.
Right.
So, and let's understand also right now for Trump, there's a bit of a divide in the MAGA crowd over his big, beautiful bill and tax reductions and the amount it's going to cost to the debt. So there's some chinks in that armor too right now that have to be dealt with.
Again, those things that they keep saying about, if you listen to the way they say it about the deficit, it could. They don't have a clue.
Well,
and you got to have some give and take. Look at what Biden did. Look at what Obama did, how much they ran up our deficit.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's they're gone. He's there now.
I understand that, but
So,
they need to give Trump a little bit of a rope, either to throw the country life raft, or it would hang him because he did the wrong thing.
yeah, well,
But
I would rather see him negotiate and do the right thing. So
yeah, but they're all guessing.
right now they all play for the look at me, look what I'm doing. I just
Yeah, we see
that all the time.
interference of Kristi Noem's
Yeah.
conference and stuff.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I really wanted to say, Art, was with this Iran deal, I think it all should have been taken care of back in 1976 when Carter was in office, and then people were held hostage for 444 days.
We would have had a good
That-
excuse.
That should have all been taken care of back then, but we had, again, a coward Democrat leader
All right.
that refused to do anything.
All right. Scott, I'm going to have to interrupt because I got to take a break here.
Yep,
All
I
right,
understand.
buddy.
Have a
Take
great
care. Bye-bye now. We'll be back.
Elevate your game at the
With you on the Art Lewis Show for this Friday morning, 20th day of June already. Rachel is in Bay City. Rachel, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Art.
Morning.
Hey, I have a question from Wednesday's Terry's Farm Show. Lakin called in from a remote. She was somewhere talking about a facility that does all kinds of stuff, and I had thought that I'd written it down. I was going to look at their website, and I guess I didn't, or I can't find it. If you could just pass that on to, either,
Hang
Terry
on.
or
Hang on a second.
Lakin or
Hold on
Okay.
a second.
or Jonathan, he would know, I'm sure.
All right, hang on a second. We'll get Lakin to answer that question for you. We have a caller, Lakin, who has a question for you. So put on the headphones and, all right. So you are now conversing with Lakin.
Hi, Lakin. Hey, I was listening to the farm show on Wednesday, and you called in from a remote. Where was that place that you were at? I wanted to look at their website.
Yes, that's right. I was at Tillers International in Scotts, Michigan. That's outside of Kalamazoo. They do a bunch of different agricultural things there. They have a very historic farm. It's one of the only places in the country where you can actually learn how to drive draft horses, donkeys, and oxen in one place. So it's a very, very unique place to visit, and I highly recommend checking out their website. They have a bunch of different events coming up this summer and year-round. So
Do you know what that website is?
It's tillersinternational.org.
Tillers, Tillers?
Yes, tillersinternational.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm going to go and check out their website.
All right, Rachel, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. So what got you there?
Tillers International, I'm the president of the MSU Draft Horse Driving Club, and the club we took...
Wait a minute. Time out. You're what?
I'm at MSU. I'm a student there. I'll be a senior this
Right.
fall, and I'm the president of the MSU Draft Horse Driving
There's a
Club.
Draft Horse Driving Club.
Yes, the draft horses have
Budweiser is looking for you.
Right. Yes, we have a very long-standing history of draft horses at MSU, and we created this club to teach students how to drive and learn the draft horse basics type things. So
They're beautiful animals.
Yes, they are. They really are. They're gentle giants.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for answering her question.
Yes.
Appreciate
not
it.
a problem.
Lakin Do Russell, you hear her on the Farm Show and the news. And let's get back to our phones. Up next is Hank in Quanticossee. Hank, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Morning.
I've called in a couple times for a mark your calendar. This has to do with the Vietnam Memorial moving wall coming to Carroll.
Had a news story on it yesterday.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yep.
Well, we're getting close. It's next, the 27th, 28th, and 29th. It's the end of next week.
Yep.
Actually, the wall is going to be escorted from Lapeer up to Carroll by we don't know how many motorcycles. Good weather, there should be at least 500 motorcycles in the motorcade.
Yeah, it's going to start at the Harley dealership.
Yes, approximately a mile south of Lapeer. It's going to leave there at 12 o'clock sharp, and it'll be brought up into Carroll. The next day, we're going to be setting the wall up, everything ready for it. And like I said, it's open the 27th, 28th, 29th, and it's open for 24 hours a day.
Yep.
We will have people there to help you find the names on the wall that you're looking for, because they are put on the wall by date of death, not in alphabetical order. So we have to use a little cheat sheet there to find out what panel and what line they are on.
Yep.
We have opening ceremony is the 27th at 9 a.m., and we have a Army General that's going to give us a little talk, and we have the Saginaw VA nurses, which are going to do a short program honoring the 8 women that are on the wall, and those 8 women were all nurses.
All right.
And it's nice. They have sort of a
just tell everybody where the wall's going to
uniform.
Tell everybody where the wall is going to be located.
Okay, it's going to be about a mile, just a little over a mile east of Carroll, right on M81. It's across from the Moose Lodge. It's actually at the Carroll soccer complex. Or
so if you go through, if you're coming from here, if you go through Carroll, it's about a mile past, right?
Yes, just a little over a mile, right straight through Carroll, right on M81.
Very good.
And it's been a long time since Wall has been in this area.
Yep.
And we are going to have a couple food trucks across the road. It's a solemn enough event that we are going to have no advertising, no pets, no smoking near the wall.
Gotcha.
And it's been in the works for 6 months. We've got a good committee, but there are an awful lot of moving parts into this thing, more than I would have ever thought.
Well, you guys will do a good job. We're
sure going to try.
All right. Well, Hank, good luck, and thanks for bringing the wall. Right. Appreciate it. Bye-bye now.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you, Art. Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. And here's Paul in Saginaw for you. I have to take a break. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Art. Art, I've been following this Karen Reed trial recently on TV, and to me, with all the cast of characters that are involved in this trial, it just looks like it's another repeat of the O.J. Simpson trial 2.0. What do you think?
No, because it wasn't televised. And you don't know what happens in the courtroom. You know, we only get the news reports. We don't hear all the testimony as a jury would hear it. So it's pretty hard to judge. They found her not guilty, but she was sentenced for drunk driving.
Right. But I don't know. It just looks now the family's going to sue for a civil damages.
Yeah, well, the standard of proof is different.
This. Huh?
Standard of proof is different.
Correct. But I don't know. To me, this whole thing looked like a fiasco. A lot of
because it had so much media attention. I mean, anytime one of those things gets that much media attention, fiasco may be a good word. But you still don't know what happened in the courtroom. You didn't hear the testimony, so it's hard to judge.
Well, they did show some of the testimony on other channels.
You did not hear all the testimony. You were not sitting in the jury.
No,
you weren't sitting in the jury box, hearing it as they heard it.
Right.
So they must have heard enough to have reasonable doubt.
Oh, apparently they did.
Apparently
they did. So,
yeah. All right. Good enough,
right.
Paul. Got to take a break. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Okay.
And we will be back. Lines open for you, 989-752-6111. We're back with you. And the Art Lewis Show continues with open phones until 11 o'clock. Larry is in Vassar. Larry, good morning.
Good morning, young man.
Thank you.
I know, it's a standing joke. My wife and I really enjoy watching Jeopardy at 7 o'clock, but we're so disgusted with the political advertisements that come on, one for this one and one against Trump and all that. The election was just over. Give it a rest.
Yeah, well, you'd like it to, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Somebody's got money to burn, see?
Yeah, well, most of them are PACs and groups like that have collected large sums of money. And, they pay the price, though. They don't get it cheap, so that's the good news. But I know it's frustrating, but it's become the nature of the beast anymore. In this day and age, you can't get away from it. It's just, that's why I look forward every now and then to going on vacation, and I tell people, I'm going out to toward the November sometime in that area. I'm going out west. I take the train.
Yeah.
It's forced relaxation. I don't watch any news. I don't hear any news. I don't look for any news. And I spend a week and a half isolated, and I enjoy every minute of it.
All right. Take care, young man.
Larry,
right.
thanks. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye now. No, it's true. It's you get beat over the head by it. I love to tell my view of today's media world and what's changed in the media. And I start out by saying, well, if you go back to the days of Jefferson and you wanted to accuse him of being an adulterer, whether he was or he wasn't, isn't the point. But if you wanted to accuse him of being an adulterer, and let's say you were one of his opponents, you'd utter the words, some scribe or reporter would write it down. It would either get printed or written down, put on a horse, and sent to your community. And maybe if you were lucky, you came across it, you read it one time, and you were done with it. If Jefferson were alive today and accused of being an adulterer, whether he was or he wasn't, doesn't matter, it would be all over social media. It would be all over mainstream legacy media. It would be all over billboards. It would be all over everything you can think of, 100 times a day for weeks at an end. That's the difference today. We are overloaded with all this political stuff. And nothing we can do about it. I'll tell you that right now. It's progress of technology, and you take the good with the bad. So what can I tell you? All right, let's take a break here, and then we'll get to Mark in Midland when we come back.
At Crystal Clear Hearing in Sag.
All right, we're back with you. Let's see if we can run these calls before the program runs out of time. Mark is in Midland. Mark, good morning.
Morning, Art.
Morning.
For as much as we dislike all the political ads, I know it's got to be a boon to the local media for the advertising cost. I mean, you guys probably do pretty good with the TV stations and radio stations with all the ads that come out during election year.
Yes and no. Let me explain that. Political use ads, that is ads where you hear the candidate and you often hear this ad approved by so-and-so in their voice. Those are political use ads, and they have to be sold at the cheapest rate that we provided over the past couple of months. The ads that are PAC ads, those ads that are issue ads where the candidate's not identified, they talk about an issue, those, they pay the long dollar for those. So that's why I say yes and no. But it does help the bottom line. There's no two ways about that.
What do you do with your local sponsors as far as, I mean, when it's election year, you're going to get jammed with those political ads. They're on all the time. Do you just increase the amount of ads you run every day, or do you tell your local sponsors, hey, we're going to have to back off for a little bit on your ad time? what do you do about your ad time?
Most of it is a reasonable, a slight expansion. In other words, I'm going to pick numbers out of the air, all right? The old standard used to be 18 minutes an hour. And if you ran 18 minutes an hour of commercial time, and that included the network and everything else, if you took political advertising, you were able to add about 10%, so a couple of minutes to it. So maybe you did 20 instead of 18. And most stations followed that format. It's typical. It's normal.
Yeah. It just seems like, when it gets closer and closer to the election, that's all you see anymore. And
that's to be expected.
It's probably
no surprise.
All right. Well, thanks for the explanation.
You bet, Mark. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, bye.
Bay City is where we find Susan this morning. Susan, good morning.
Good morning, Art. Haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
The point I wanted to bring up is President Trump was on TV and he was explaining the busts and the drugs seized at the borders. And it was, like hundreds of pounds from Mexico and blah, blah, blah. And he happened to say that they had seized 35 pounds of fentanyl through the Canadian border. And so they had a really good drug bust. So right after that, like the next day, I think our representative, well, I know she's one of our representatives there, Alyssa Slotkin. She had an ad come on, and she was really knocking President Trump. How stupid is he to go on Crow basically about 35 pounds of fentanyl through the Canadian border? And she kept saying, he thinks this is something, 35 pounds, when, everybody else has all these other drug seizures. And I don't know if she's stupid or what, but it only takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl to kill a person.
Yep. Imagine how many people could die from 35 pounds of fentanyl.
35 pounds of fentanyl is enough to wipe out a state, of people.
Yep.
So they've been running that ad, and it just irritates me because I think...
Yeah, they got the right to run it. You're not going to change
they
that.
do.
You have a right to disagree with it, totally.
Absolutely, but then again, I think, well, I hope people don't buy into that and think, yeah, boy, 35 pounds really isn't.
They might. They might.
And, I don't listen to every one of your shows, but did you ever get back to my when I called in about the garbage that time that Michigan receives?
It's been talked about, but I haven't got details as to today. You talking about the garbage coming in from Canada?
Yeah, garbage from everywhere. We are the big garbage dump for Michigan.
Canada is the big one, and it's.
But regardless, that is on tipping scale where everybody else the minimum price is $5.36.
Well, it's contractual.
Well, and Michigan, good old Democrats, run the deal for 32 cents a pound. So that has made us the garbage dump for Canada and everybody. And that just makes me so mad when we, have tourism and all our Great Lakes. Basically, they just made us a free dumping ground.
Yeah. Don't disagree.
I would like to, I'm hoping that in this election coming up for Michigan, where we have the Democrats against the Republicans, I hope that becomes one of the big ticket items that they
maybe
run up the old flagpole.
Maybe.
Because I'm an avid recycler and trying to do as much as I can when we are bringing in garbage from every state plus Canada. I don't think so.
All right.
So, thanks for your time, Art. Bye-bye.
You bet, Susan.